everyone, welcome to today's video. Today I'm going to be showing you my beginning of journal setup for my new journal for the rest of the year, the last 3 months of the year. Yeah, it turned out really cute and I really like it, so I hope you do too. Let's just jump into it. Okay, so starting off, I am just starting off with my name page. In the past, I haven't really decorated my name page before, but I thought that it might be fun this time to give it a little extra spice. So yeah, I just wrote my name in there, Sandy Openlander, drew some little stars, and then I'm drawing just clouds around it. I decided for these few spreads that I do for this beginning of my bullet journal that I would make the artistic part of it be clouds, because like I mentioned in my September bullet journal setup, I love drawing clouds. They're one of my favorite things to draw, so I was I might as well just make this cloud themed, why not? So yeah, that's what I'm doing, is I'm just drawing in the clouds and some stars. And also, I would like to just apologize right now. I did not realize that my camera was focusing on my arm so much instead of the page. So throughout this setup, the page does look a little bit blurry at times. And I am very sorry about that. But because this is a setup, and I'm drawing in ink for the first time, I can't re-film it. Otherwise I would. And I still want to show you guys the process of setting it up, so I apologize for the times when it gets a little blurry, but yeah, we're rolling with it. Anyway, so yeah, I'm just drawing in those little clouds. I just decided to use the gray mild liner to kind of outline the clouds. I didn't fill them in all of the way, just outlined the edge of them, and then where I put in the little details to make it look more cloud-like. I don't know what you would call those, the little lines, I guess. So yeah, I just put in the gray mild liner on those areas just to give it a little bit of color. I thought about making the stars gold, but I ultimately decided against it because I didn't put stars on any of the other pages, just on that first one. So that is why they stayed just with ink. So the first real spreads that I'm setting up here are a calendar spread and then a goal check-in. So my last bullet journal, I finished it with the month of September. So for purposes here, I only have the last 3 months of 2022 left, so that's why I only included those months. And then once we get around to 2023, I'll make a whole nother beginning of the year setup. It just won't be at the beginning of my bullet journal, if that makes sense. So I just put calendars for October, November, and December, and then a little box for the events. And then on the right side, there is a box for personal goals, health goals, and work goals. When I did set these goals up at the beginning of the year, at the beginning of 2022, that last category was school and not work, because I thought that I was going to be getting my bachelor's at that time. But I ended up getting my associates instead, and I probably will go back to get a bachelor's degree, but because of burnout / having a child, I decided to just get my associates and stick with that for now. So I just kind of changed that category to be work. That way I can still write down some goals and check in where I am with my work goals. But there wasn't really a point of me putting a school box there because I got my degree. So that's why that's different, in case you were wondering. I don't have any of those fancy stamps that write out the numbers for you, but that would be really handy. So I just wrote them all out by hand, and then just drew a little cloud around each month and around the little events label as well, just to make them look a little bit cuter. I also just added some clouds at the bottom there to fill up that space and give the page just a little more decoration. And then again, just at the bottom of this page. And then I also just drew a cloud around the goal check-in, which you'll see in just a second here. But I really like having goal check-ins throughout the year because I think it makes making goals more worthwhile. Because if you just make goals at the beginning of the year and then never think about them again, then chances are you won't accomplish those goals. Whereas if you make goals at the beginning of the year and then you break those into smaller goals, throughout your months and you do it however you need to for what system works for you, but then you have these check-ins, then you can kind of see where you're at and what needs to be adjusted, because sometimes your goals need to be adjusted. Like, for instance, my school goals were adjusted because I graduated with my degree, so I no longer needed those goals, so I adjusted it to be into work goals. Or one of my health goals this year was to learn more about the menstrual cycle and ovulation because I was trying to get pregnant. But then I got pregnant pretty soon after making that goal. So, that goal shifted into learning more about pregnancy and things that I need to do for my pregnant body versus my not pregnant body. So, it's important to know what's going on and when you need to adjust those goals, and that you can adjust your goals, but you won't know that if you never do a goal check-in. So that's why I really love having goal check-ins. I know some people do them quarterly. I kind of just do them whenever I feel like it. Maybe quarterly would be more systematic and better for me, but yeah, I kind of just every once in a while do a little goal check-in. And in writing, I like to check in frequently, like with my husband talking about it, but in writing, just kind of every once in a while. So these next 2 pages is when we start getting into the book territory. I've always loved reading, but this year I have really jumped back into it and read a lot more, which makes me very, very happy. And I think reading journals are so much fun, and so I just wanted to incorporate some reading journal type of spreads into my regular bullet journal. Right now I don't have need for a completely separate journal. My mother-in-law did buy me one that I'm going to use for reviews, probably more so. But this one is kind of just more of a tracky type of situation. So my original goal for this year was to read 20 books. At the time of recording this, I've read 22. So I lengthened it for this to 30 books. So what I'm doing here is just drawing out a box for each book, and then I'll fill it in. You'll see in just a minute. I'll show you how I fill it in. But yeah, that way I can just kind of track, where I'm at with my goal of how many books I want to read. I thought that 20 books would be a reasonable goal, and I was pleasantly surprised when I reached that before the end of the year. So I'm just bumping it up to 30. I think that should still be reasonable. I am having a baby, and that probably will affect how many books that I have time to read, but I'm going to get as many books in as I can before she's born. So that's what I was doing on the left page, was just making a box for each book. On the right page, I'm making a couple little boxes here and cloud sections, I guess you could say. I want to write down every single book that I read. So on the right page, that first larger box will be where I write down every single book. There will be a space for 30 lines, so 30 books. And then if I read more than that, then I don't know where I'll put them, somewhere else, I guess. And then my little cloud sections, I guess you could say. One is for the amount of pages that I read total. My Goodreads will tell me that, which is nice, so I don't have to try and calculate that myself. And then my favorite author of the year. I usually don't make that distinction, but I thought it might be fun to try. So yeah, and then the other little box just says genres. So then I can write down the different genres that I read from this year, because I try to read from lots of different genres. So yeah. And then on the left page, you can see I'm just decorating with some clouds again. And then the top, like, little header just says Books of 2022. So then as you can see, I filled it in the numbers 1 through 30. So yeah. And then just decorating with some clouds to tie the pages together. And that will be what I do for these pages. And then again, I'm just going in with that gray mild liner to give the pages a little bit of color. So I'll be using that for all of the clouds. And you could use, if you wanted to recreate these, you wouldn't necessarily have to use gray. Like, I think if you had like a light pink or purple or like orangey color, make it look a little sunsetty, that would be super cute too. Or any color, really, honestly. It doesn't have to be colors that clouds actually are. I just went with gray just because it's simple and easy, and I like this shade of gray. But yeah, really, you could do whatever color you want. So yeah, and then I'm just using that gray to fill in the boxes of those little headers just to make them stand out a little bit more. And then on this little books I've read section, I am drawing every other line just to distinguish without having to put in ink each line. That way when I'm writing in there, I'll kind of know what my guidelines are, and I will have to write pretty small. So what I'm doing to indicate how many books I read, and like fill it in, I'm not filling in the whole box. What I'm doing is just kind of outlining the box so that you can see, like, where it's colored is where I have up until then, but that way it's not too like messy, and it still stays pretty simple and easy to do, but also indicates where I'm at with my reading. Okay, so this next spread looks like it's very complicated, and it kind of is. But what I'm doing here is creating a book bracket. So this is completely inspired by Plant-Based Bride here on YouTube. Her name's Elizabeth, and I've seen her do this the past couple of years, where she makes a bracket where she's chooses a favorite from each month and then pits those favorites against each other using a bracket to determine what her favorite book of the year was. And I just think that's so much fun, and I will be making it into a video, so don't worry, you'll be able to see what I choose. So for right now, I'm just setting up that bracket. Now, you might be looking at this and saying, Sandy, you only drew 11 boxes and there are 12 months in the year. And I am aware of that. But here's a fun fact. If you've been here for a while, you'll know I didn't read any books in the month of June. Not on purpose, but it did happen. It wasn't like boycotting books for the month of June. I just went through a crazy reading slump for the entire month and I didn't read anything. So I just kind of left June out. I just didn't draw a box for June because there wasn't anything to put there. So that's why there's 11 months listed instead of 12. And I'll just have, I think it's the month of October, we'll just move forward automatically without having to like go against another book. So hopefully it's a good one. My husband tells me that that's called an auto bid. I didn't know that. So there's a fun fact for you. Maybe that's common knowledge and I just didn't know that, but yeah. So that is what this spread is. It will be a book bracket. And I think that I'll just write the titles of the books in, because I don't own a printer. Like if I owned a printer, then maybe I'd print out like the covers of the books and that would be cool, but I don't own a printer, and then I would have to like go to the library and try and size out all of these covers, and then I wouldn't know, like, some of them would have to be printed twice because like one would win, right? So I'm just gonna write it in. So yeah, that's what that spread is. And you can look forward to a video from me at the end of the year or the beginning of next year of pitting my books against each other to see what my favorite was. So then what I'm doing on the right side of the page here is going to be like my favorite moments of the year so far. So it's just January through September because that's, again, I finished my other journal in September. So I just have a box for each month and I will just write a few little thoughts of what my favorite moment from that month was. I really like this idea because I think it's good to just look back and think of the positive things that have happened, and there's been a lot of great things that have happened this year. I found out I was pregnant, and like finding out that we were having a girl and getting to see her and all the ultrasounds and stuff like that. I just like, those are just really happy moments, so I would like to write about them. And I think it's good to like think of, a happy thing for every single month of the year. Like that's good. I don't know. I think it's like a great way to show gratitude and to remember the positive things, because sometimes I think we focus on the negative a little too much. So this can help us focus on the positive, which is good. I also realized when I went to erase my pencil lines that I forgot to fill out that cloud at the top, so I just did that really quick. But yeah, it just says favorite moments of 2022. And then I'm just using that gray to fill in those little boxes labeling each month and to color the little cloud. So yeah, that is all the spreads for this little beginning of year setup. I'm really excited to use these spreads. I love the way they turned out. I think the clouds are perfect. I love them. I love clouds. So yeah, I'm glad I went with that for this, and I'm so pumped to use this journal because it's like one of my favorite journals I've ever bought. It's so pretty and I love the size. So yeah. Okay, so that was it. Just a few simple spreads to start off my bullet journal. I am really excited to use them. I think they turned out really fun and that they'll be good ones. So yeah, please like this video if you liked it and comment and tell me what you use in the beginning of your bullet journal. What are your go-to beginning of bullet journal spreads? Let me know. And yeah, subscribe. Can I talk? Subscribe for more videos like this. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!